Welcome to Stories in History, where we delve into intriguing historical topics from the distant past. In today's video, we explore the ancient kingdom of the Ryukyu Islands. This small island chain played a significant role as a dominant commercial port in the intra-Asian trade between Southeast Asia and East Asia from the 14th to mid-16th century. I invite you to join on this exciting journey to uncover the historical connections between this ancient kingdom and Southeast Asia. Before we begin, I would like to express my gratitude for your visit today, and I hope you thoroughly enjoy the video. Without further ado, let us dive into the fascinating world of this ancient kingdom and its ties to Southeast Asia. The Ryukyu Islands are a group of islands situated where the South China Sea and the East China Sea meet, facing southern China and Kyushu. Before the 14th century, Okinawa, the largest island in the Ryukyu chain, was divided into several small kingdoms. Over time, these kingdoms gradually unified into three major principalities: Hokuzan, or Northern Mountain, Chuzan, Central Mountain, and Nanzan, Southern Mountain. This period was known as the Three Mountains period, or Sanzan Jidai, lasting from 1322 to 1429. From the Tang and Song dynasties, China was experiencing a significant growth in maritime trade, especially in Quanzhou, Fujian province. This period led to the establishment of the Chinese Tributary System, which governed political and economic relations in East Asia and played a lesser role but still significant role in Southeast Asia. The Tributary System involved not only political ties, but also economic and commercial exchanges. In exchange for providing goods to the Chinese court, tributary states received luxury goods such as silk textiles from the Chinese emperor. They also received special trading privileges in designated ports in China. The Ryukyu Islands, despite being small and lacking significant natural resources, began to seize trade opportunities with China in the late 14th century. In 1372, Chuzan, located on the largest island of Okinawa, established diplomatic relations with the Ming dynasty. The Chinese court was extremely generous to Chuzan, providing them with substantial funds to purchase exotic goods that could be offered as tribute to the Ming emperor. Furthermore, the Ming court offered to repair and refit Chuzan's ships for free whenever they arrived in China with tribute. With the support of the Ming court, Chuzan engaged in vigorous trade and sent numerous expeditions to Japan, Korea, Siam, Viet, Malacca, Sumatra, Java, and even the Philippines in East and Southeast Asia. Chuzan profited greatly from trading goods between these regions, particularly with Ming China. As a result of these new diplomatic relationships, Chuzan became the largest and most prosperous among the three principalities that constituted Ryukyu. In 1392, at the request of the king of Chuzan, the Ming dynasty sent 36 Chinese families from Fujian to Ryukyu. These families were tasked with managing the island's commerce with China and Southeast Asia. Many Ryukyu officials would descend from these immigrant families and play a crucial role in advancing technology and diplomacy, not just with China, but also with other states involved in the Chinese Tributary System. The majority of crew members aboard Ryukyu's trade vessels were Chinese settlers as well, who had settled in Kumemura, now located in the port city of Naha. With the profits from international trade, Chuzan gradually consolidated its power over Okinawa, leading to the eventual unification of the islands under the Ryukyu Kingdom. Shohashi, the first king of Ryukyu, had arrived in Okinawa as a representative of the Shimazu clan of Satsuma, a powerful clan in mainland Japan. He aligned himself with the local ruler of Chuzan in their fight against the rulers of Hokuzan and Nanzan. Shohashi later rebelled against Chuzan and installed his father, Shoshisho, on the throne. In 1416, he conquered Hokuzan, followed by the conquest of Nanzan in 1429, thus uniting all three kingdoms into a single Ryukyu kingdom. In the same year of 1429, the Ming dynasty recognized Shohashi as the legitimate ruler of the Ryukyu Islands. The kingdom became a tributary state of China, and the Shou family continued to rule the islands until the 19th century. The unification of the islands under Shohashi's rule led to a flourishing of international trade. The period between 1429 and 1570 became the golden age of prosperity and power for the Ryukyu Kingdom. Under the ruling Shou family, the Chinese tributary trade and international commerce became a royal monopoly, strengthening the king's governance of former regional lords across the islands. For nearly 2 centuries, the kings of the Ryukyu engaged in prosperous and active trade in East and Southeast Asia. This trade not only generated substantial profits, but also brought the fragmented people of Ryukyu together under a shared enterprise. All trade ships were required to possess special certificates called shisho, issued by the Ryukyu court, which ensured centralized control over international trade. Despite the significance of Ryukyu's trade, references to its expeditions are rather sparse and fragmentary. There is not much reference among Portuguese, Chinese, Japanese, Southeast Asian, or Korean records about Ryukyu. Most of our knowledge comes from the Reikidai Hoan, a record compiled by the Ryukyu Kingdom, documenting tributary missions and trade between 1414 and 1867. These records indicate extensive trade with Southeast Asian regions such as Ayutthaya, Srivijaya, Java, Malacca, Sumatra, Annam and Dai Viet, and Patani, in addition to Japan, Korea, and China. What we do know is that Ryukyu's international trade was largely an extension of its tributary trade with Ming dynasty. Among its trade partners outside of China, Ayutthaya held the utmost importance. Trade with Ayutthaya began early on, and official records indicate that approximately 62 Ryukyuan trade ships embarked on 48 expeditions to the Siamese court between 1425 and 1564. In 1421, there was an incident involving 20 shipwrecked individuals from Palembang and southeastern Sumatra who found themselves in mainland Japan. Due to Ryukyu's position in trade in Southeast Asia, the Japanese court sent the sailors to Ryukyu for repatriation, where they were transported to Ayutthaya and eventually Palembang. A few years later, in 1428, Ryukyu sent an embassy to Palembang to inquire about the safe return of the shipwrecked sailors, which subsequently led to the establishment of trade relationships with the Sumatran kingdom. 3 additional voyages followed, but abruptly halted in 1440 as no ships arrived in Palembang after Java's conquest of the port in the mid-15th century. According to historical records, Ryukyuan ships made 5 expeditions to eastern Java between 1430 and 1442. Several others journeyed to Sunda Kalapa, present-day Jakarta, and western Java between 1513 and 1519. Furthermore, with the emergence of the Sultanate of Malacca in the 15th century, Ryukyuan ships made at least 20 voyages there prior to 1511, when the Portuguese captured the port. Ryukyu also established diplomatic and commercial ties with Annam and Vietnam in 1509, visiting the ruler to express gratitude for repatriating shipwrecked Ryukyuan sailors through China's assistance. Additionally, Ryukyu had significant trade interactions with various other regions. Trade expeditions were conducted to places such as Korea, where Ryukyuan ships visited multiple times between the 15th and 16th centuries. In 1431, shipwrights from Ryukyu accompanied the tribute mission to Korea, where the Joseon court requested for them to build a Ryukyu-style ship. The new ship raced against a Korean naval vessel and won, in which the Joseon officials commissioned them to build several ships for their fleet. Furthermore, Ryukyu placed great emphasis on cultivating strong relations with its northern neighbor Japan, particularly during the Muromachi period. Several records reveal that Ryukyuan ships frequently visited Japanese ports such as Hakata and Sakai, actively participating in the bustling trade networks of that time. This trade not only facilitated the exchange of goods, but also fostered cultural influences and the spread of knowledge between Ryukyu and Japan. Ryukyu's trade relationships were expansive in scope, and they nearly came to dominate much of East and Southeast Asian trade. They regularly exported local goods from Okinawa, such as sulfur and horses, to Southeast Asia. In return, Ryukyu merchants procured various commodities from Southeast Asian kingdoms, including sappan wood, pepper, ivory, mercury, muslins, and wine. Ships also engaged in trade with Japan to obtain copper, iron, porcelain, silk, lacquerware, folding screens, and gold. While many of these goods were traded between different countries and within Ryukyu itself, the majority of the profits were garnered through their sale in China. The Ming court recognized the remarkable success of Ryukyu's traders, and as a result agreed to provide them with a new ship for each tribute mission. However, this practice seemed to have ceased in the mid-15th century, likely due to financial difficulties faced by the Ming dynasty. Nevertheless, during this period, the Ryukyu Kingdom experienced significant prosperity. The Shou monarchs relocated the capital from Chuzan to Shuri and embarked on extensive reconstruction projects. These endeavors included the construction of temples, bridges, and other structures, as well as the importation of scrolls, books, paintings, and other luxuries from China, Japan, and Korea. As a result of this prosperity, Shurai transformed into a magnificent city, serving as a testament to the immense wealth acquired through overseas trade by Ryukyu. The 15th century would mark the pinnacle of Ryukyu's prosperity. However, in the 16th century, the kingdom's prominent role in international trade began to diminish. Ryukyu heavily relied on China's patronage in this trade, and as the fortunes of the Ming dynasty waned, so did Ryukyu's prosperity. Additionally, during the 15th century, a new threat emerged in East and South China Seas in the form of Japanese pirates known as woku. These pirates targeted Ryukyu and other East Asian vessels, further challenging Ryukyu's position in the trade network. By the 16th century, Ryukyu's trade in Southeast Asia began to decline due to the increasing dominance of the Portuguese, who had seized Malacca in 1511, as well as the emergence of powerful Chinese trade monopolies in Fujian and Guangdong. During this period, Ryukyu's trade shifted to focus mainly on China and Japan, which remained profitable but not as lucrative as the trade with Southeast Asia. In the 17th century, Ryukyu would also face new threats. In 1609, the Shimazu clan from Satsuma Domain in present-day Kagoshima Prefecture, Japan, invaded the Ryukyu Kingdom with the intention of expanding its influence and gaining control of the islands. The northern islands of the Ryukyu were directly annexed to Satsuma and transformed into sugar factories using slave labor, while the southern half, included present-day Okinawa, retained nominal independence. The Shimazu clan implemented the Satsuyo system, appointing officials who oversaw the various aspects of administration and trade within the Ryukyu government. Ryukyu would nominally retain its independence, but its autonomy was severely curtailed. For the next few centuries, Ryukyu would retain some significance in trade, particularly after the Sakoku Edict. During the 17th century, Ryukyu maintained its tributary relationship with the Ming and later Qing dynasties in China. As China restricted trade to only tributary states, Ryukyu served as a convenient loophole for Japanese trade with China. When Japan closed its borders to outsiders, the only ports open for trade were Nagasaki for the Dutch, the Satsuma domain through the Ryukyu Kingdom, and Tsushima for Korea. Merchants from Satsuma took advantage of Ryukyu's tributary status with China to bypass trade restrictions and the Chinese tributary system, as Japan and China did not have formal diplomatic ties. The Ryukyu Kingdom would ultimately survive until the 19th century, existing for nearly 3 centuries with an ambiguous relationship to Japan. It was widely recognized as a vassal of the Satsuma domain, but retained its status as an independent kingdom. It wasn't until 1879 that the islands were officially annexed by Japan and the monarchy abolished. China and Western powers did voice concerns and protest the annexation, but ultimately chose not to intervene. King Shotai, the last king of the Ryukyu Kingdom, was forced to relocate to Japan and given a peerage in the Meiji government. However, even today, the legacy of the Ryukyu Kingdom is still evident in Okinawa Prefecture through its distinct culture, language, and identity, which differ in some aspects from mainland Japan. But its role as a dominant force in international trade between East and Southeast Asia has largely faded from memory. And with that, we conclude our brief history of the Ryukyu Kingdom and its significant role in intra-Asian trade between Southeast and East Asia. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider giving it a like and subscribing for more content. Stay safe and goodbye.